Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's the reason I did it. Morning, everybody. Silent prayer today, and Jeff, it's your turn.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to take a moment of silent prayer, please.
Okay. Also, please turn off your phones if you have them out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
I am here.
The old saying, he had one job to do, and there we are. Okay. Roll call me. Commissioner Culberson.
Here.
Commissioner Stevens here. Mike Smith, I'm here. Commissioner Love. Is Vanessa, are you on? Okay. 4 of us are on right now. We'll go to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the governing body? If so, step forward and have your 2 cents, or even 3. Well, good. Seeing there's none, that's a first. We'll go to administrative business. Mark, do you have anything?
Commissioners, I don't have anything today.
Okay, county clerk's not up here, so. Oh, I'm sorry. Doggone it. Let me put my glasses back on.
Well, I really don't have anything to report this morning.
Okay.
I was just going to update you on the swearing in the new treasurer, but I think we're going to move that date. It was moved to the 14th, but I think we're going to move back to the 10th. So.
The 10th?
Yes.
Okay.
October 10th at 10 o'clock, and we'll have a meet and greet downstairs afterwards.
Okay. Where is that going to be, across the?
Yes,
And
courtroom 3.
Courtroom 3, okay. The 10th at 10 a.m., you said?
Yes.
All righty.
10-10.
And that's all
10-10. Very good. Okay.
Something else?
That's it.
That's
Thank
it?
you.
You're easy.
Okay, continue with administrative business. Mark, did you have anything else besides that? Okay. Jeff, do you have anything?
Nope.
Mike?
Nope.
I have nothing, really. Okay. Vanessa's still not on. Okay. Then we'll be moving on to consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, Willie.
Aye, sorry.
Okay. You look like you're in deep thought.
I was.
Okay.
That's dangerous.
Okay, formal board action. Consider a motion to approve a 4-year service agreement between Leavenworth County and Motorola Solutions for the emergency radio system. Morning.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Jim.
Morning.
We have a request for board action involving a 4-year service contract for the radio system that runs through Leavenworth County. It covers all 7 towers and the ESAPs for both the Sheriff's Office and other responding units. The contract will run for a 4-year period, and it will cover this year's initial payment, which is already budgeted for, and you'll recall was in a previous BOCC meeting. It will then proceed to have a slight increase throughout the course of the next 3 years and culminate in the expenditure that was previously broadcast to you. It is our intent to sign the contract and proceed into a 4-year contract with Motorola for these services with your approval.
Just for make everybody's attention, what was that contract for this year? What was the amount?
This year's amount is $487,204.83.
Okay. Only game in town.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioners?
I have a.
Go ahead.
Could you, for the sake of the people who are here, kind of give a brief explanation of what this is for and how badly that it is needed?
Yeah, we have multiple police answering points within our own dispatch center, and the police department has theirs. This would run the Sheriff's Office, fire, EMS, across the board for all services with fire and volunteer fire departments throughout the county, and allows for utilization of properly functioning radios. If these services go down, we're not able to contact units in the field and give people the needed services that we would have to push out in the event of an emergency.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
This covers most of the, I guess, the spots that sometimes are dead zones and things like that too.
It does. In the previous system, prior to the system we're currently on, if you were going to stop a car in the county, for instance, there might be instances where you either could not stop that car or would not stop that car because you would not have the ability to get back to dispatch.
I remember. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Any other comments?
Commissioners, I would just, as we did work through the budget, this was one of the items that was a new item, and is the challenges that we face when we are trying to present a budget that has a flat or reduced mill levy. These are things that are not optional. The reason it's here today is because it's a multi-year contract.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this would fall within our normal purchasing. But since it's multi-year, they do need the commission to sign off on it. But what that means is it's in next year. It's
Right.
in the year. It's going forward. This is a new expense that we will have, and it's required. Otherwise, you do not get emergency communication.
The other thing too, Mark, is it's like I said, it's the only game in town. There's not too many but provide a service, and you definitely, when you call 911, you want somebody responding, coming out to the area. So it's a neat expense, and I know we've talked about it already at budget time. Any other? Mike, you have something?
I was going to make a motion.
Go right ahead, sir.
Consider move that we approve a 4-year service agreement between Leavenworth County and Motorola Solution for the emergency radio systems.
Second.
Motion is second. Any more discussion? Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
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 All righty. Thank you.
I almost did it, Will.
I was looking at Rich, Mike. Okay, thank you. Item B, under formal board action, consider a motion to authorize the chairperson to execute the medical director agreement for the health and EMS departments.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the chairperson to execute the medical director agreement for the health and EMS departments.
Second.
I'll second it. Now that we've got that out of the way, is there anything introduce?
Again, Commissioners, this is Dr. Bullock.
I'm just saying for the people watching. Yeah.
Resident of Leavenworth County. Has worked in Leavenworth County
Since 2018.
since 2018. So we're happy that she selected interest, and we're here to present her in front of you to move forward with the medical director.
I read, I guess, called your resume or your thing. I was pretty impressed with it. So I'm very pleased you stepped forward. I don't have any questions. If there are anyone else?
I have any questions. I just maybe the doctor would like to say something herself. We're not going to bite you. Trust me.
Okay, please do.
Okay.
I've worked in emergency services.
Could you bring that mic a little closer to you?
Sorry.
It's hard. It's hard
Yeah,
to hear.
it is hard. Yeah.
I worked at Cushing Medical Center. I worked at St. John's, Providence. I work with a lot of the Leavenworth EMS, and I look forward to working with them further as the health department. And then beginning of the year is me fired. So
That's what I saw. Touched on a little bit of everything.
A little bit. I saw her resume, and I was quite impressed. And thank you for bringing her in to have a brief conversation. Thank you very much for coming in.
Just
Go ahead, Mike.
We visited on the phone. Very nice conversation. Appreciate it. Just 2 items I'd like you to address. We have our parental notification policy for the county that we've adopted. You're okay with enforcing that?
yeah, what we spoke about.
And then the second thing is, can you address how you look at overseeing all these township medical directorships and how that's going to be handled? I'm sure Jamie's going to help you with that.
I know this could be a learning curve, but I am excited to work with the community that I've been a part of for almost 10 years. So,
I've been her. Let me interject real quick. I've already briefed her on those contracts on how they already, and she's willing
Yeah.
to
Move ahead.
Go ahead and go forward with those. So
Yeah, I just
for
wanted to
the
make sure.
learning curve for her that
Yeah.
she doesn't know all the components of that. We haven't had an opportunity to fully go into that, but we have worked through that, and we're going to remain the same costs and all those kind of things that we just did a few months back.
And then the last thing we did visit on the phone is you're willing to give us a quarterly report either in writing or in person?
Oh, yes, of course.
So that's all.
Okay, thank you, Mike. If there's nothing else, I'll start the roll call. Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
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 Absolutely. Welcome aboard. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for coming in.
Item C is consider a motion to approve Resolution 2025-32, repealing the Resolution 2018-1 pertaining to legal services.
Commissioners, we have a long tenured employee who is an attorney but also works in the IT department. In 2018, a special resolution was passed that allowed this attorney to work on just a finite amount of items. In this budget cycle, it was agreed that the attorney was going to come back under the umbrella of the county counselor's office. These restrictions are no longer appropriate. The employee will do these and many more items, and I think he's excited to broaden his scope. So,
Mike, you got anything?
No, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-32, repealing Resolution 2018-1 pertaining to legal services.
Second. Discussion?
So he's still going to do the tax though, right? Okay.
Yeah. They clarified it up.
Because there was a 2-year period where
Yeah.
we didn't have anybody.
I know.
They forgot that part.
They forgot.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I got a motion, a second. I'll start. Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you. Okay, the next things, presentation discussions, transfer station discussion.
Come on up. Commissioners, if you recall, when we met with the City of Leavenworth with the joint work session, we briefly talked about the transfer station. The City of Leavenworth, my understanding is that they were getting ready to move forward with developing their own transfer station. And before that happened, I wanted the opportunity for the commission and Scott Peterson, the city manager, and myself to kind of sit down, and also Tammy, who's the current director for the transfer station, to sit down and talk about opportunities. Because once they start down that path, there's really no going back. So not saying that isn't the way they're going to go, just want to make sure that we've explored all options before that happened. So that's kind of why we're here today. I think that one of the options that we could consider is that the city would take over operating the transfer station. In the past, they utilized the transfer station, but at a subsidized rate. And what we've told them is we don't do subsidies, so everybody pays the same rate. So just wanted to pass that along. That's kind of where we're at today. And Scott, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you and the invitation by Mark here. Just kind of let you guys know what our current plan is. Obviously we're here because we're certainly interested in Mark's proposal for the city to take over your transfer station for our needs. So we, as you guys probably know, we own that property down in Gilman, just a little bit down the road from your transfer station. For whatever reason, that property is in the Leavenworth city limits, even though it's surrounded by the city of
Oh, I know the reason. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'd love to hear the So anyway, it used to be the Leavenworth landfill, and the idea being we've had conversations internally about the current state of our residential trash service. We've been listening to our residents and our constituents, and we're trying to do our best to improve that service. Make it a little better for everyone. And as part of those conversations, we realized we kind of need our own facility to either store or transfer our trash. And yes, well aware of the previous conversation that occurred at Abels Field, trying a different route here. So the current plan, if nothing changes, is the calendar year 2026 will, service-wise, will look almost identical. We're going to buy another trash truck, hire a couple more employees just to increase the efficiency. But we will still be transferring, for the most part, transferring our trash down to the Shawnee landfill, occasionally taking it to the county when you guys have the availability, which is what our current situation is. So nothing will change in 2026. Looking to possibly building our own, what's called a consolidation station out there at that facility on Gilman in 2027, 2028. And so that facility in the near term would not be open to the public. It would just be used for the city's residential waste. And we would have a Class A CDL driver driving a larger hauler to first Shawnee and then eventually out to Hams by Leavenworth, since we are aware that the Shawnee landfill will close in the next 15 years or so. So after that, the commissioners have asked us to look into the possibility of a long-term transfer station. Obviously, having two transfer stations within a mile of each other, we understand provides a little bit of inefficiency there. I met with the City of Lansing's City Council a few weeks ago. They were obviously not thrilled about the idea of having another one there in their city area, which we certainly understand. We spoke about the possibility of the concept of taking over the county's transfer station, which they were understandably, again, more agreeable to. So I think, not to speak on their behalf, but it sounded like that was the direction they would prefer we went. So here to answer any questions you guys have, kind of talk this through if you guys have any concerns or what you'd like from us. So,
Mark, what's the benefits for this to go forward?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question, and obviously without a conversation with the city, it's impossible to know everything. This is kind of the start of that. From the county's perspective, I don't know that there's county organization-wise, I don't know that there's a benefit to the county, but certainly there's a benefit to the citizens if there's an efficiency of operations. I don't think we would want the service level to change in any way, shape, or form. I think that would be very important to the county. We're very happy with what we have. Tammy does a great job out there, so I don't think we'd want any service levels to change. But just trying to work through, like Scott mentioned, two transfer stations trying to operate within a half mile, I think, actually, of each other. So not a direct benefit to the county per se, but a direct benefit to the citizens of the county via the city. So that's where it would come in.
I have to tell you, years ago when the city of Leavenworth spot annexed that landfill out there, it was a mess for the city of Lansing. I think I was on the police department then, and we finally had to go to court to get it closed down. And then it took a lot of money and a lot of things. The problem we've had was trash was everywhere. And we couldn't get no response back from the city of Leavenworth, and the things have changed. So I can understand why the city of Lansing would be concerned about that. Also, people look at it like this: why are you putting it in my yard instead of doing it yours? I know y'all attempted to do it in other places, but why don't you find a place that you could put it somewhere else that within the city of Leavenworth instead of putting it out in the city of Lansing? Now, if there's a benefit for Lansing or the county citizens to do that, I'm all open. But I don't know. I think it's running great right now, so I'm not sure I'm convinced. Again, it's starting early, and I appreciate you guys getting, and all the folks and ladies, everybody getting involved, talk about it. And I'm not against it, but there's got to be a lot more information passed on to me before I can support something like that.
We agree. There's no question. There's a lot of conversations to be had and details to be hashed. I think Mark and I are kind of here to ask you: are you interested or are you not?
Yeah.
Right.
If you are interested, then we'll have those conversations. If you're not, then hard feelings. Obviously,
Well, I'm always open to hear what you have to say, so I haven't closed mine on like that, and I don't know what the county commissioners have to say, but I do have some concerns. So I guess the conversations I don't have that y'all could start, but that's just my feeling. It depends what the other county commissioners. And Jeff, you got a history up north of something that happened in yours that we're still battling for, was it 10, 15 years? So I've got concerns. If we were not doing such a good job from the staff we had, I would probably lean more to that. And I know I want to help my sister city come in and do that, but this is just a starting point for my concern.
I do want to touch real quick on the idea of staff. Just want to make it clear, if we did take it over, the city it would make no sense to rehire and retrain an entire new staff. So we would certainly gladly take on the existing employees out there as part of that conversation.
Yeah, and that's good to say. But the bottom line is you will have control over them. And you'll be able to terminate them or let them go if you want to. And I've seen people make promises before. I've lived through it, and other people in this room have, and then it didn't work out that way. So I think I want to stay focused on how does it help the county as a whole and protect the city of Lansing at the same time.
So if you would mind, tell me, what would that look like to you, if you don't mind, Commissioners?
Y'all putting it in Leavenworth.
Okay.
I'm just saying that I'm being a little sorry. If you can show me that it benefits out there, I'll go with it. So what I'm trying to say is I'm not convinced no on it. I just need a lot more information, and I know we're getting started early, but I just had to share with you what my thoughts are on it.
Okay.
Any other comments on this?
There isn't anything you'll come up with in conversations that's going to make me agree to this. So just right out of the gate. It's a hard no for me.
Jeff had to do it up north on something similar. In fact, we've still been doing it. Spent thousands of taxpayer dollars trying to get it resolved. So it's concerning to us. It has nothing to do with the commissioners that are on staff now or you. You're doing a great job. It's just that we've lived through this before, and sometimes things don't work out like they're supposed to. But, Willie and Mike, what do you think?
Wow, Commissioner Mike is
Deep thought.
is really thinking hard about this. I'm in partial agreement with Commissioner Smith here because I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I do know that the situation in Commissioner Culberson's area that he's very familiar with is that we've had some consistent issues that have come up since I've been here. It was a very, very short time. And it's concerning to me to double down on that in an area that already has problems as how efficient that this will actually work. So I'm willing to listen, but I'm not convinced.
Mike?
I guess I'll listen.
Okay. So it looks like we're in agreement for at least the conversations continue. Is that right?
Yeah.
I would want to see that the county's going to benefit.
Yeah, there has to be some kind of benefit. Okay. Well, Mark, consider.
Okay. I just wanted, before, like Scott had mentioned, before we went anywhere with this, we have not had any conversations, first of all. I just want to let you know that. Before we went anywhere with it, we wanted to make sure that there was even an interest by the county commissions.
Well, absolutely is the right way to do it.
If there's an interest, we'll have some further discussions with Tammy, Scott, and myself, and anybody on Scott's staff that needs to be included.
Yeah.
And then see what we can present back to the commission. And maybe we just sit down and decide that it's probably not going to work out to go forward, but before we spend any time on it, I just wanted to get the temperature of the commission.
Right. Well, I do want to thank the city of Leavenworth and Scott for bringing it forward, because we're always trying to look for ideas that save a tax dollar here and not duplicate services. So don't take it wrong with some of the conversations. You just haven't been here long enough to know some of the history on it. So what I'm hearing is y'all will go forward and you'll be getting back with us. Is that correct?
Yes.
Everybody good with that, commissioners?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you all. Good talking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay. Mark, you want to save that executive towards the end, or you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Do that
we'll go.
last.
You want to go to the work session? I mean,
Sure.
zoning. Let's do that. We can say the executive.
That way
session, we'll get
staff's
out of
not
here.
waiting for us.
Yeah, let me.
Not yet. We're not ready for that.
Okay,
yet.
all right.
We're going to make that last.
All right.
Okay, we're going to discuss now work session, discuss zoning regulations, language amendments. Welcome, you two.
Well, I like that shirt, man.
Yeah, you look pretty like you.
Oh, he's pretty nice.
You need to pass out the handouts here. While she's passing those out, we've got about 15 items here that we've compiled over the last year that address a number of the issues that we've been through in the last 12 months or so. Some of these have been planning commission concerns. Some have been concerns that you've had as it relates to the zoning regulations. So we propose some zoning changes or some regulation changes that you'll find in the red line with the existing language. We've got a few that are new regulations that obviously have to go to the planning commission first. But we want to get your blessing on that before we move forward.
It would be mine, right? Thank you.
You? Thank you.
I do have a question.
Sure. Go ahead, Mike.
On this garage sale provision, how's that going to impact our agritourism folks that are selling single products, or does it have any impact on them at all?
Shouldn't have any impact. This simply is setting a definition. You have a regulation that exists today, but you have no definition of what a garage sale is. Typically, you need to define it before you regulate it. So that's what we're attempting to do.
Okay, I just noted the single commodity provision in there.
That is, yep, that's,
So if I was selling honey and that's all I'm selling?
you wouldn't be impacted by this anyway.
Okay.
Ag related.
That would be, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that would be
So the
ag
ag's
related. We cannot
exempted.
regulate ag. So.
Ag tourism things are exempted.
Yeah, we can't regulate. They meet the state exemption for that.
Hey, John. So for this particular one, what is the issue that we're trying to address?
The lack of a definition of what a garage sale is.
But why is that needed?
Well, to define the parameters of what we're trying to enforce in the code. If you don't define what a garage sale is, you essentially have flea markets in multiple areas within your county.
That's what I was
So,
That's where it's at, okay. Okay. All righty.
any other questions on number one?
Okay, no, go ahead.
Okay. Number two, in 2019, you adopted a number of different zoning districts, but those zoning districts actually never made it into the regulations from that adoption point. So this section is adopting the planned districts and some of the R districts that were never incorporated into the regulations. So that's nothing new. It's just a housekeeping item. Again, these have all been approved. We're just getting these in the regulations. Somehow they never made it. Any questions on that one?
You know, is this the first time we're saying this?
Yeah.
Yes. Before we,
I'm really, I'm having Mark, is there any way we could, we're in a hurry on this. Could we wait a week? I'd like to have a chance to go through this.
Yeah, the Commissioners, is a work session, so that's why we bring it forward. So if you
Okay.
want more time, that's obviously.
I'd like more time for
First
a
time I'm
work
seeing this.
session.
Before we act, I agree.
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
So-
and again, we're not asking for any
Well, I
specific.
understand, John.
Yeah.
I just need a week.
Sure.
Mode. I need a week to comprehend all this.
Okay.
And then I'll maybe have some intelligent questions.
Okay.
So could we put this off for a week, Mark?
You want to continue to go through
It's just
them?
going down.
Yes, it's going to go
Okay.
there real quick.
And then we can bring it back in a week
Sure.
for more
Okay.
input.
Yeah, they're not
That's
they're not
okay.
asking for anything. They're just explaining what they're
Okay.
changing.
Go ahead and take number 3.
The next section, Article 7, Section 1, this section of the regulations, which is something that we've talked about before, is putting some stricter parameters on the R1 rezones. Currently, if the future land use map identifies an area for, say, like 3 units per acre or anything like that, the recommended R1 zoning district is compatible generally with that future land use map. However, there have been some concerns raised about how far out from city centers R1 zoning could take place. So from a density perspective, you want to surround these closer to cities where the eventual continuation of public sanitary sewer will happen. So this is just codifying what we talked about previously, as setting a 1,500 linear foot distance from a city limit line where the R1 zoning district would be recommended to go.
So to be clear, in the R1 zoning district that we're speaking of, it's only relative to septic tanks. Okay? If you have the ability to get utilities, those densities can be higher. But if you're reliant on a septic tank for the sanitary sewer component of this, we're saying that 1,500 feet around the city centers should be the limits of that type of zoning. In other words, you can't have 1 acre 5 miles from a city sitting on septic tanks.
Gotcha.
Those densities are concentrated. We're attempting to concentrate those densities around cities, as this has been a ongoing discussion, both the Planning Commission and the BOCC level and from the general public. Concerns about density. So this is our recommendation to address that.
Okay.
Recommendations of it being at least 1,500 feet.
Around each city, right. So outside of that 1,500 feet, you would have to go to a different zoning category with less dense construction. So the higher densities are concentrated around the towns, and they become less dense as they move out away from the communities, which is the intention of most future land use plans.
Okay, all right. I think I just got an email on this. Like yesterday.
Well, again, it's been an ongoing discussion, both at this level, the Planning Commission level, and from the general public.
Okay.
So we figured we'd better address that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Are we going down?
Move
Or
on.
I
Move on.
already asked on another one. Or
We're not
just on
there
this
yet.
one?
If you have any on this one, I'd just assume.
Just move.
I don't.
Okay.
Okay, go on to the next one, John.
Okay.
Article 29, Section 1.1, there's been conversations around permitting of ponds and earthen foundations. Currently under our regulations, those are all listed as structures that require building permits from our office. There has been conversations of not requiring building permits for those types of structures, so we are just bringing that forward to see if it's something that we can doing.
So just
We'll
a couple
take
of
just a second for our county
Positive
commissioner.
Fingers County.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, John.
So a lot of these ponds will take some component of engineering to accomplish. Small ponds that essentially are just detention facilities that aren't designed, that are out in a field, don't necessarily require that engineering. But if engineering is required due to proximity to road right-of-way, structure, adjoining development, all of that can be a component. Right now, it's simply treated as an accessory structure. In other words, if you meet the setbacks, you get the permit issued. It's
Okay.
probably is an engineering item, needs to be placed in a different spot. The walls with footings on them, well, it depends on what type of wall you have and the surcharge behind the wall. The building code will require a lot of that to be engineered as well. But this is simply a question that has been posed at multiple levels. Do you want to maintain this as it is today? Do you want to keep it as an accessory structure permit, or do you want to remove it? Or do you want to place it somewhere else? So again, we're not asking for that answer today. We're just asking for you to think about that moving forward.
All right.
Move on to the next one.
Article 20, Section 16. This is talking about the lot frontage requirements on cul-de-sacs and curved roads. So if you guys might have seen it on previous cul-de-sacs, we don't require the minimum road frontage at the roadway on cul-de-sacs. We allow people to set their road frontage at the building setback line. Obviously, on curved streets and cul-de-sacs, it's a harder thing to meet that frontage requirement at the actual roadway. So what we are setting here is just a clarification that establishing the front yard setback at the building setback line on cul-de-sacs would also apply on curved streets as well.
So to hop in over the top of that, whenever you have a pie-shaped lot or you have odd geometry to a lot that happens on a curved street, any radius street, a lot of times the frontage of that street is going to be much smaller than the minimum lot width. Most communities, when you have a pie-shaped lot, will allow the minimum lot frontage to be measured at the building setback line. That's common occurrence. We have plenty of cul-de-sacs that are coming through, and in the past, some directors have allowed that to happen, some have not. I prefer to have it in the regulations versus an interpretation. So, again, any pie shape or radius lot needs to be measured at the building setback line.
That interpretation can be deadly. I've seen it in 2 or 3 cul-de-sacs.
Yep. So that's our intention, is to set this so that there's no question. This is where it's interpreted at.
Okay.
Any questions on that one before we move on to the next one?
Move on.
Okay.
So that's the
Would
105 feet.
I'm sorry.
So the building setback is at the 105 feet from the center of the right of way.
They can do a little different. So the frontage, so say it's RR 2.5, they have to have 200 feet of frontage. If they can meet 200 feet of frontage at the building setback line of 105 feet, or for internal roads, it's 40-foot setback, then that's how they comply. They also can push that building setback line a little bit further back until they create the circumference they need to meet.
If they have enough depth in the lot.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Article 22, Section 2. Last year, you guys changed some of the requirements for special use permits, more specifically the transfer of rights to new owners. Going back through the language this time, we realized that maybe there needs to be some more clarification provided during different sections. So you'll note there's a couple of that reference here. We just wanted to make sure it's clarified that ownership rights do not transfer for a special use permit if the property is sold. So that's what this first section is, just clarifying to make sure everybody understands that.
Getting your decision in the regulations.
So is that our current position is that special use permits do not transfer?
That was the board's decision last year during the SUP process.
Well, my concern with that, and I think we've probably been through this before, but is how that could delay the transfer of property.
Yep.
And
Understand.
I mean, I personally think they should transfer. It's my thought, because if you have a cabinet maker and he sells his property to another person that's intent on being a cabinet maker, he has an SUP. Why do we require them to go through the whole bureaucratic process when he's going to be doing essentially the same work? I mean,
That was not a proposal by staff, Commissioner. That was a determination by the board
well, I
last
think
year.
maybe we ought to revisit that.
Let me ask you this, John. Mike brings up a good point. How are we made aware that this person, that's what they're going to be doing, so they don't have to come back in front of us? It's the same type of equipment.
Well, normally
Mike
what
was saying
you,
that say it's a woodworking thing, which is good, and he switches, doing the same thing, no problem. But how do we keep track of that?
normally in most jurisdictions, they require a notice of transition. So when you sell your property, you have 60, 90, 120, whatever days to notify the jurisdiction that the property has been transferred. Those rights typically are intact for the 90 days until that person can get that property in their name. And then jurisdictions vary on what they want, whether they just want to readopt those same rights given under the original SUP, or if they want to go through the process again. Now, when we went through this last year, it was my understanding from the board at the time that they did not want those rights to transfer. So this is a reflection of that decision.
I think I'm kind of in the middle ground. If your office is aware of it and notifies of it, and you're happy with it, then I don't know why we want to bring it back and forth. It's been a long time. There's something missing. In other words, that office could handle that with having to bring it back to us.
The problem with going through the SUP process, again, is you have to have a hearing.
Yeah, I agree, Mike.
I
Here's
would like to simplify it and make it, if it's going to be substantially the same type of a business, that it automatically transfers, or it's transferable on conveyance.
We can make it an administrative process where staff makes the decision. So do you want us to bring that back to you to strike that portion of last year's decision?
Jeff?
Agree.
Yeah, so when somebody gets an SUP, the person that owns it has to sign some agreements with planning and zoning. So the new owner, if they were to sell that, could just sign those same agreements and make them.
There's an affidavit that they have been required to sign in the
Right.
past, stating that they will comply with all the original.
Okay.
So they're agreeing that they'll do everything that the first owner said they would do. So I can see how, some things go with land, some things go with the person.
Yep.
I can see how you could make this go to the person if they were agreeing to the same things that the original one did.
Well, we can certainly make that an administrative process so that you don't have to see it. If there's a change in that SUP, then we would just administratively say you need to reapply.
That's right, and they have to come back. I think that's right.
Yeah, but it's going to be a big impact.
I agree, Mike. I agree. Vanessa, you have anything on that?
Right now it just seems like more of a pro-business, business-friendly forward.
Yeah, and that would make it easier. Willie, you got anything on that?
No, I'm happy to see this because I have a next door neighbor that we issued a special use permit, and his area is a bow and arrow where they teach target shooting. I would hate to see someone come into the same area and say, well, we can use that for a live ammunition area. No, you can't. So I just want to make sure that we're protecting those individuals who are within a mile, because the bullets can fly all over the way. Arrows don't, especially when there's an embankment there to take care of it. So administratively, I think that we should be looking at that.
Okay. Yeah, we can certainly make it that kind of process, and if there's a substantial change, we'll make them reapply and come back before the board. If that's your intent, we'll make those changes and address it.
Very good. Next.
Okay, so Article 22, Section 5, that top part is again referencing that transfer of ownership, but we'll go ahead and strike that. The second part deals with special use permits where it's deemed that a security staff is needed as part of that operation. So right now we're just adding language based off of some sort of policy that hasn't been drafted yet that a condition may be placed on an SUP that requires the applicant to provide professional security staff to attend any event or events that necessitate the presence of law enforcement personnel.
So this came as a product of an SUP in the last calendar year, and the board had told us to put that on, at least to take a look at that during the text amendment process. So that's why you're seeing it before you today. Is that still something you're interested in, or should we strike that? Is it now? Again, we're going to run into some issues if you remember that process as it relates to licensed law enforcement. It may be that security.
Yeah, that's John. That's what I think when we tried to go about, did some homework on that. It's not as easy as it used to be when I was a cop.
Right.
I mean, you could hire almost anybody. But I think my million years, Mike. I guarantee dinosaurs we patrolled with. But one of the things that I do know, they are certified security firms that could do the same thing, and they could be hired to do that stuff. We could be hired to do that. So I think, my opinion, there needs to be some kind of security or something there, because that's what we'll be dealing with the same thing next year.
And again, we just want to be very careful about how we word that in the text.
Exactly. Missy, do you have anything to add to this? Because I would hate to see us go down a path that would lead into some complications that as we made decisions here that now are going through the court system, going through legalization. Is there anything that you can add to help us out with that?
Yes, Commissioner. I would say that adding it into the regulations just gives us, it acts one as notice to the applicant that there could be a requirement for security in the future, and then I think the Commission has always had that option, but it gives the notice and it codifies that option exists. It doesn't mean that you're going to exercise it or what way we're going to utilize it. So I think it just leaves the door open for further exploration, and then a policy that comes forward might sort of suss out some of those details.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good? I'm good. Mike?
And this applies to both regular SUPs and temporary SUPs as well.
Yeah, there's another one further down that refers to the SUPs.
Thanks.
Okay. Move on to that.
Okay. Article 22, Section 8. Again, this one we're just going to strike based off of previous conversation because it deals with the change of ownership. So.
Well, there's one component here I would like to discuss. The cessation of activity. Typically, in your process right now, you have to go through, if you're going to repeal an SUP for activity that hasn't been in place for 12 or 18 months, you have to hold a public hearing. You have to repeat the same process that you did during approval. What we're trying to say here, or at least inferring here, is that if you have a block of 12 or 18 months that the activity hasn't taken place, that is an automatic cessation, so that you don't have to go back through the public hearing process. If it's been abandoned, it's been abandoned, which is typically how it's done. There is not typically a public hearing when there's a cessation of activity for an extended period of time. But that will be up to you whether you want to make that determination or not.
How do you establish the dates? I mean, would you send how will you determine that period of time has told?
Well, we would notify the holder of the SUP first and wait for some response. If we got no response, we would begin that timeline and then verify that action hasn't been taking place on site as best we can, and then wait for those months to pass and then notify the board. What do you want to do?
Sounds good. Okay. Anybody else on this one? Righty, moving right along.
Article 22, Section 11. This refers to that professional security staff safety security section. But under that subsection.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about.
Just being consistent throughout the regulation on both the standard SUP and the TSUP.
Yeah, right. What Mike was asking about, yeah. Okay.
The next one, Article 42, that's the family homestead exemption, and I provided a copy for you. That's this guy right here of what that article states. It was put in place, it looks like in 2018, for situations where people wanted to split off land for family members, but they didn't want to go through the full platting process. this gave the option to split via certificate of survey, and then once it's sold to a non-family member, they would have to then at that time go through the whole process. However, from a application standpoint, this is really hard to track.
It's impossible to track.
I was going to say, how are you going to police that?
You cannot.
I'm not aware of any situations at this time, at least since I've been here, we have not had one of these go through. But since 2018, we've had other things adopted in our regulations that allow
CAs.
for families to be able to split off land in a better way, or ADUs, secondary homes to go on these parcels, so family members can reside on same properties. So staff is recommending that we repeal this section based off of the additional items that we have added to our regulations to promote family home sites.
And another component of that is the CAE process. Well, it originally was put in place for these types of situations where you have a large tract of land, you want to deed a number of lots off to your children and all live on the same site. That was also the intention of the CAE. So there's a lot of tools that are in place now that weren't in place at the time that this was adopted. In addition, it's virtually impossible to enforce the components of this. So if it's unenforceable, we prefer not to have it. Are there any questions on that?
No, not for me.
Seeing there's none, go right ahead.
Okay.
I apologize for the inconvenience, but if you could pull that mic towards you, I'd appreciate it.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah, it was backwards.
Okay. Hear me now?
Thank you.
Yep.
Can you hear me now? Go ahead.
Okay. The next section is Article 50, Section 40.3.A. So this has to deal with the minimum lot width standards as established in our subdivision regulations. This actually is just reinforcing that establishing the minimum lot width on cul-de-sacs and curved roads within our subdivision regulations as well, stating that you can measure the frontage at the building setback line. But we are also proposing to set a minimum frontage on the right-of-way for these lots. So for a cul-de-sac lot, that the frontage cannot be less than the 50% of the required road frontage, and for a curved street, not less than 20% of the required road frontage. And John might want to.
So the intention behind this regulation is that you do actually have some road frontage, and it's viable in that it's 20% on a pie-shaped lot and it's 50% on a curved street. As that radius gradually opens up, you have to have more road frontage. So we establish a minimum road frontage based on the width of the lot and then allow you to get the total minimum width at the building setback line. So you have to touch the road for this percentage of the lot. On a curved street, it's 50. On a pie-shaped lot, a cul-de-sac, it's 20. And then at the building setback line, which is typically going to be 40 feet inside a subdivision, you have to have that minimum 200 feet or 300 feet, whatever it happens to be in that zoning category.
I could be off here, but what's the obligation of the property owner when they have a driveway that's all the way out to the street? Is it the material that they're using for that driveway? Is that defined for the purpose of?
I believe there is a standard. Well, I believe there's a standard detail for the construction of that approach. As far as snow removal, that's what you're asking. Yeah, typically in every jurisdiction, you have to remove snow all the way to the end of your driveway. Now, I don't want to speak for Bill. That's certainly a public works issue, but that's typically how it's done. It is your responsibility to remove those materials all the way to the end of your driveway.
So if it's black tar or tar or concrete, doesn't matter?
As far as removal of snow?
As far as the homeowner's...
the homeowner's responsibility, the approach is still the homeowner's responsibility.
Okay, all right.
Even though it's located in a road right-of-way, that's universally true.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions on that one? Okay.
That one was personal.
Yeah. Good question.
So the next one, Article 50, Section 40.3.B. Again, we're still in the subdivision regulations. There is a requirement that they have to have a minimum lot depth. However, searching through our regulations, including our sanitary code and other codes that are adopted, we don't have a required lot depth requirement. We transitioned to a lot depth to lot width requirement a few years ago. So we're just recommending we repeal this section because there's no actual regulation in place that tells us what that minimum lot depth has to be.
So this is a remnant of previous codes, and this is common. You have pieces of older regulations in place, and when you're doing these types of updates, it's best to do housekeeping, which is what this is, just repealing a section that's really no longer applicable.
Any questions off that one?
And we did check other jurisdictions. Most have moved to a lot depth to lot width requirement based off of the large acreages we deal with in the county.
Okay, very good.
All right, Article 50, Section 40.4.A. This has to deal with easements. So currently, it references alleys. We don't commonly see alleys in subdivisions in the county. So we are taking off that reference. And then we're just clarifying that permanent easements for public utilities have to be located along all front, side, and rear lots for the purpose of utility poles, wires, and conduits. And that it has to have a continuous dimension of 20 feet. That is a standard practice we enforce right now. We just want to make sure that our regulations reflect that.
Is this the reference?
No.
Yeah.
So alleyways are, again, an antiquated component to the regulation, and the intent there was to have utility easements that banded the rear portion of lots, which we already require in other sections of the code. And I don't think that we want to be responsible for alleyways. So we want to remove those at every possible point that we can in these regulations.
I can see that. We call it escape routes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Any more? Okay. Article 85, Section 36, Commissioner Steben, that piece of paper is now part of this conversation. This is something that John is bringing with him from Roland Park. They had adopted requirements to allow for what they call lot tie agreements. These are for subdivided parcels, so actual lots or platted lots, to allow multiple lots to be tied together without having to go through a replatting process. So it just quickens up that timeline for owners who own adjacent parcels to go ahead and legally combine them, because what we commonly see, especially in smaller subdivisions, is people who build a house on one lot, they buy the next adjacent lot, and they want to put a shop on it. Well, our regulations say that you cannot have an accessory structure on a lot without a principal structure. So what they commonly have to do right now is replat to combine those two lots into one. This removes that requirement, and instead they can file a formal agreement with our office and with the Register of Deeds, legally combining those two lots for the purposes of the building permits, and moving forward they would be tied to one another without having to go through a legal replatting process. So we're proposing that it only be allowed for platted lots within an approved subdivision plat, that the lots within that lot split or lot tie agreement not be greater in size than 4.99 acres, so this is really for smaller lot subdivisions. And then no more than 2 platted lots shall be combined in as part of the lot tie agreement, and then that the lot tie agreement shall not create or further increase in nonconformity of the platted lots.
So lot ties in general are a very old tool. It's not specific to any jurisdiction. Yes, I used them in previous jurisdictions, but they are a great help. They're a great tool in the toolbox when you're dealing with this particular issue. And it happens a lot where people will buy 2 lots and they really want to put a shop on, and you would like to allow them to do it. It makes sense to do, but you can't, because it's a shop is a secondary, an accessory structure, and you have to have a primary on every platted lot. So by allowing these 2 lots to be applied together, it's a self-encumbrance. They're committing that they're never going to split this off. It's considered one lot. It just avoids the platting process and avoids the expenditure to the homeowner to have to go through that process just to get ready
Even
to
if they sell
show.
the property, this would stay in place once it's
Will.
done? Okay.
Unless they replat. And if they replat,
Good.
then they would have to accommodate the structure.
Mike, go ahead.
So if you were later on to sell and split and replat, now we could have an issue.
No, you'd have to replat to accommodate the structure that was built during the lot tie.
But so the So if the structure's in violation of,
Structure wouldn't be in violation because you're the one that's putting those lots together. So you would have to accommodate that structure and primary structure with a larger lot.
okay, so you would just make that part of the conveyance agreement.
Yeah, it will run with the property. So it stays like it is until such time as it's
So it wouldn't
replatted.
necessarily delay any kind of transfer of property.
No, shouldn't delay at all.
Okay.
It's also filed with the Register of Deeds. It's part of the title work.
Vanessa?
What's the reason for not being able to have like a shop by itself without a primary?
Well, most regulations don't want accessory structures as a primary use on any platted lot. Let's say you have a subdivision. Everybody builds houses at the subdivision. Someone
I see
comes
what you're
in.
saying.
Yeah.
I've just seen in some cases where it's, an empty lot where it's not suitable for a house to be built. There's not an access road or something like that, and it still makes it difficult for someone to use it for a shop or something. So I was just wondering, but.
Well, sometimes those peripheral lots, the infill components in any subdivision they have, the less desirable lot. This is a great tool to address those lots and allows people to, without having to put additional access in, additional elements in, they can build their shop or their ADU or whatever they'd like to do. Basically expands the footprint of their lot, but not to exceed 2 lots. So you can't come in and buy 10 lots and take over a subdivision. You have the max of 2 lots being tied together.
Is that it? Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
All right, and then the last one, that's just cleaning up another part of the article we are putting this in, so clarifying that boundary line adjustments and lot tie agreements will have to have the agreement filed with the Register of Deeds.
Right.
Okay.
That's all we have, Commissioner.
I have something.
Jeff, go ahead.
So since we're talking about all this, do you know why we use for the front setback 105 feet from the center of the road instead of all the other dimensions we use side and rear is from the property line or the easement line? Do you know why we use it from the center of the road instead of the edge of the right of way? For instance, typically roads are 60 feet wide. The majority of roads in the county are 60 feet wide. But in this case, if you go from the center of the road, if your right-of-way is 210 feet wide, you can build your house right on the front property line.
What our regulations state is there's an either-or situation. You either have to be 105 feet from the center line of the road, or, like in your situation, if that is within this right-of-way, you have to be at least 40 feet from the front setback or from the front property line. So technically there are 2 setbacks on that. It's just whichever one is greater.
Okay.
To avoid that situation.
Okay, and that's the part that doesn't make sense to me, why we're using 40 feet, because it would be 75 in most typical situations. The majority of the time, it would be 75-foot setback. Can we change that? Would it be too hard to change and just do away with 105 feet from the center of the road?
Well, I think if you're going to do front setback changes, you're probably going to need to do that based on road classification. If it's a local road that's interior subdivision, 40 feet's appropriate, or 35. If it's a collector or arterial, then maybe 100 makes sense. But typically, when you're dealing from the backside of the road right away, that road right away is fee simple title, which is not how the county does it. So I would assume they put that in from the center of the road right away because that's the front of the property line. So that 105 would be applicable to something that was an easement versus fee simple title.
So it makes more sense to me to change it according to what type of road it is and use a hard setback from.
Then it would have to be from the backside of I agree, from the backside of the right-of-way, wherever that right-of-way is established.
Yeah. I think we need to do that. I don't know why it's been this way for years, but this is something I think has just slipped through the cracks and doesn't make any sense.
We can certainly make that happen.
This is my opinion.
Yeah.
We need to do away with a 105-foot setback from the center of the road. Makes no sense. For instance, 7 Highway I know is wider than 200 feet in a lot of places. 2440 is 300 or 400 feet wide. So that means you can build the road 40 feet build their house 40 feet
from 7.
from the right of way.
From its current width. If it ever gets widened or they buy more right away.
Which is the whole point
Yeah.
of setting it back for
That makes
40 feet
sense.
doesn't make
Yeah, that
sense.
makes
75 seems like what the target was. So
We
to me,
can propose that per zoning jurisdiction. That's typically how it's done.
yeah, I think this is something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah,
It's just
we can do that.
I think it makes sense. Everybody else?
I agree with that.
So properties that were, like, when we changed that rule, properties that were not in conformance with that are
They're grandfathered
grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything new would have to accommodate the new regulation. So you may have subdivisions that were built at, 40 feet. We would have to accommodate those.
Yeah, they'd be grandfathered in. I'm not wanting to go back
Right,
from here forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything you pass is not retroactive.
And in 40 years, I've seen this cause problems.
Yeah.
That's why I'm bringing it up.
That's a good point, Jeff. Okay, well, just one other thing, guys. Did a great job. But if I could ask Mark and y'all, when we get information like this, I need a week ahead of time. I really do. For me to go through it, and then I can walk through it also. So if y'all would please try to
I
get
need
that.
more than a week.
Well, give us at least a week so that I can at least underline it. I mean, y'all did a great job, and I appreciate it, but I think it's just better to get it just a week ahead of time.
You think we could change the 105-foot setback along with these changes, or would that take longer?
I think we can make that happen.
Okay.
I don't-
I didn't know if it caused
I don't
any
think
other
we can get
problem.
it for next week. You'd asked to put it off. I
That's
don't
fine.
think we can get that
That's
for
fine.
next week, just tomorrow
That's
morning.
why I wanted
That's
to
fine.
say, why don't we put this off for long enough where you can do
Yeah.
that? Because there might be some things I'm not thinking of, but I can't see it causing it.
Right. From a staff standpoint, we don't need to have it on next week. I would just like to get it done before this calendar year is
Yeah.
done.
Oh, okay.
Set it up
All
for
right.
us, John. You guys set it up.
Okay.
We'll take a look at it again.
And thank you.
Yep.
Thank your office
Both of
for
you, all
everything
of
you
you.
do. I know
Yep.
you're very under the gun a lot of times. I
And
appreciate it.
you've streamlined a lot of things to make get citizens in and out quicker. So I appreciate it too. Anything else for these two?
No, for
Thank
me.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is work session discuss this government efficiency committee.
Okay. We ready for this? Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Recess for closed executive session.
No, we're not ready. No.
We're not ready for this?
No, we're on this. Go to the next
Which one are we on?
No, not this one.
Go ahead.
The second work session.
The second work
Work
session.
session. Discuss government efficiency committee.
Mr. Chairman, do you want me to
Leave the
tee
way.
it up?
Yeah, if you want to.
What we've been seeing nationally and what we've been seeing across the country is efforts on the part of local governments, national government, state government. I know we have a committee now in Kansas to look at efficiency in government, and the goal here is just to set up a committee with the county administrator, get a streamlined committee set up to just kind of review line by line, maybe put a new set of eyes on each part of the budget, see if there's any redundancies that we have. Is all our software working together? Is everything working together? Is there a way we can provide the same services at a more efficient price? Maybe there's not, maybe there is, but just put a new set of eyes on it, kind of look at it. And my suggestion is that one of the commissioners that's going to be going forward, maybe the two new commissioners or Commissioner Smith, would be on the committee, and then representatives of each of the departments and Mr. Lawfrey, and you can set this up however you want when you get together, and it could be as specific as you want, or it can be more informal. But I just think it would be good, in my opinion, to put another set of eyes on each line item of our budget in between the budget cycles.
Well, I don't agree with that. I think, look at the big picture, and Mike's exactly right. When Congress does there was a lot of funding that I do not agree with. But you've got 5 elected people up here who every year I think get better with the budget. I would like to see the budget maybe start earlier so we can have things. There's no one up here that can't go out to a citizen and take that budget and walk through it with them. I'm not sure this is the right thing to do, but of course I'm always open to entertain any things. And we got a professional staff, and anybody in this room could take our budget and change something, because that's the way we're all built. Anybody could come in and say, we need $10,000 off Public Works, or we need $20,000 for IT. That's just the way we're all built. But I think what I've seen so far is it's being done very well. That doesn't mean that there couldn't be some improvements, but I think that should be coming from Mark or us as a board to look at it. I've done a lot of budgets in my almost 45 years, and this is one of the tighter ones. When I first came in and saw Mark, I talked to him about a couple of things I saw and questioned them. And again, anybody can change anything on this. If there's something that we're trying to get to, I'm more than willing to listen. But just to have a committee come up and meet, and we did do the committee, I would almost insist it be 2 county commissioners on it and the county administrator, because we're making the decisions on it, and Mark's doing the budget, and he can call the people we need into it. I mean, it sounds like a great idea, and it's a great idea for the country. I just don't know, and I could be wrong. I don't know if it's the right thing for us to do with all the eyes that we have on it right now. My proposal would be we start this budget earlier, so sometimes we get to some things that we don't have time to ask for at the end. And Mike, you brought them up a couple of times, and I think Vanessa, you have too, that we probably should have taken a look at earlier. Just my 2 cents. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. Vanessa.
I would support Commissioner Stevens' suggestion just purely for just my experience so far. There's a lot of individuals that have a belief that the county's budget's bloated. And I think that if we open it up a little bit further outside of our elected body, then we give opportunity for what people may buy in more to someone that, is not getting paid to do it, someone that isn't elected, just, maybe from different factors of society, business owners, homeschool moms, just get a good variety of people from our community, I think would be just an effort of transparency. And I think we could try it for 1 year, and if they were satisfied and they didn't find anything significant that they could offer to our elected body, then it's not something we would have to continue. But I think trying it for a year to see if it helps with kind of like we were talking before with public relations, if it will help for individuals to see that we are open to everyone to come and look at it. We're willing to receive applications for individuals that want to take this opportunity on, and maybe we won't get any, but if we open it up and we ask, however much you want one individual per district or however large you want the board to be, I think, I'm not, I guess, feeling like we need to say no on this if we can do it in a structured way where it's not a unnecessary burden on staff time, but it's more of a burden on the committee to apply themselves to look through the data that's provided. I wouldn't mind a second set of eyes, and I think that those would be my reasons to not say no to it.
Okay, Jeff.
Sure.
I'm in agreement with us having the opportunity to have more time to look at it. But to form another board of unelected officials or individuals who have experience with budgets and how to make that work, I'm not in agreement with that particular portion of it. I think that the staff, and I'll just point out, I think that the county commissioner has done, the county administrator has done a good job in the past, a lot better job than what I've seen other individuals, and giving us the information. However, in getting that done, I can understand that we do need to see the budget and go through this with the directors of the various departments sooner than what we have been. because it takes a lot more time, a lot more energy, and a lot more input. And I think time is what we're really looking at. The time to get it done, I think, would be better than putting together another board of individuals to have a look at things, and that's just the way I could be wrong. I could be wrong. However, I'm not in agreement to forming another committee to get that done. I'm in agreement to more time for the present commissioners and staff of the county to take that time to take a look at it and get a better understanding of what it is that we're trying to get done. I think that's the efficient way of getting it, in my opinion, of making it work. So I'm not in agreement with adding more staff, more individuals that have not been elected by our constituents to get it done. They put the faith in us to get these things done. And if there's any more leadership that needs to be done, then we need to have some more elected officials here, other than what we already have. And that's just my opinion.
Thank you. Vanessa, do you have something to add?
Is there a barrier right now to starting what would be the budget process sooner than we do?
There's no. I mean, we start the budget process. Actually, the staff works on the budget year round. I mean, we're working on next year's budget right now. As soon as you approve the next year's budget, we start working on the one after that. And you've already had meetings on the capital improvement plan a couple of times, and those are a couple of years out. So no, there's nothing that would keep us from starting sooner. I think the challenges we've had in the past is when the changes come, even though we've had it for months, the changes come at the last minute. It doesn't give anybody a chance to react.
But I think, Mark, I think that's what we're talking about, is that when they come at the last minute, when we see something, and that's what this is all about, when we see something that gets our attention, we don't have enough time to really address that, because we say, hey, Mark, get this to us, and we got to have it next week. If we started a month or so earlier, then we could be asking that a month earlier so you could bring it to us. I just think that we need to slow the budget process down to get all the questions answered, but do it in a more timely manner, saying earlier. Because I know you get them out to your people, but we get them later. And even though it's 2 or 3 months, with a $60-70 million budget and 400-something employees, that's a lot to go through.
I think the reference I was is the last minute changes are usually something we've discussed multiple times, and then they don't get approved, and we bring them back up maybe at the last minute. But no, we can. I mean, I can. The last challenge that we have is the valuation. Obviously, that's the mill levy.
Right,
we don't get that valuation until I think it's June, July timeframe. So that sets the mill levy, but that doesn't set the budget. So the budget documents are typically done in May, and that's when I start going over them with the department heads, and then we bring them to you the June, July timeframe. I can, we can shoot for 30 days earlier. I can give you more time with each department if you would like, multiple sessions with each department. It's your budget. It's the county commission's budget that you approve. So whatever you need to feel comfortable with it, we'll make happen.
I just look at it as more time. Now, if that didn't work and we still feel uncomfortable, then I have no problem with doing something. But I think I'm rushed a lot of times. I've done a lot of municipal and county budgets and state, and it's just in front of us. It's nobody's fault. It's just the way the system's been set up. But if we get at least 30 days, I'm just saying at least 30 days more of starting the process with us,
sure.
I think it would alleviate a lot of the questions I have and are coming back to you at the last minute.
And Commissioners, all of our budget documents are now available to anybody who wants to look at them. It's posted on our website. The documents you get are also posted on our website. And I think in the past, maybe that wasn't always the case, but we do that currently. So anybody who wants to look at that, it's available online. If they want a hard copy, they can come up and ask, and we can get them one.
But Mark,
it's a pretty big document. But the other thing that we have, though, is all of our budget hearings that you conduct with any of the departments are also telecast. So if they want to watch it on YouTube, they can, and then provide any. So, I mean, technically, you can have an ad hoc committee of anybody you want. Those folks typically do show up and provide us input, as you're well aware.
Yeah.
They look through the budget.
Yeah.
They take the time, and so you have that availability, and we will continue to do that as well.
But if we did it earlier with the questions we get sometimes from the audience or people that make calls or emails, that's still 30 days earlier, so we can respond back to those questions
I don't
too,
have a problem
and be
with
more
that.
prepared for them. That's just my 2 cents. Mike, do you have something to say?
Well, I just don't want to beat it, like you say, we don't want to beat a dead horse. So I'd just like to make a motion that we ask the county administrator to provide us 2 or 3 different options for establishing a government efficiency committee. Come back and we'll look at those options.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. What, if we had examples of this, if there was a specific size board you had in mind, or how often they would meet. So that
This would just kind of move us ahead, but not necessarily commit us.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
Aye.
No?
No.
Aye.
Okay. Mark, you want to get started and give us some ideas?
Sure.
Okay. All righty. What do we got next? We got the executive.
I get front stage now?
You get to talk now. Go ahead.
I move that the board recess for a closed executive session meeting to consult with our attorneys and discuss confidential matters related to potential claims through litigation, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship as justified by KSA 75-4319B. 2, and that the board resume open meetings at 10:30?
10:32.
At 10:32 in the meeting room of the board. President in the executive session will be Commissioners Mike Smith, Jeff Culberson, Vanessa Reed, Willie Dove, Mike Stephen, and County Administrator Mark Lafferty, County Counselor Misty Brown, and Deputy Commissioner John Kula.
We'll get it right.
Forgive me, John. I didn't have my coffee this morning.
Is that it?
That's it.
We got a motion. Get a second.
Second.
Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
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 All right. Sometimes it takes a while.
The board has returned to regular session at 10:31 a.m. No action was taken and no decisions were made. The subject was limited to matters relating to specific non-elected personnel.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, we'll do any more discussions. Jeff?
I don't have anything for today.
I do not either. Will you have anything?
Nothing for today.
Vanessa? Okay, is anybody in the audience want to speak? Okay, if not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you, folks.